edition of the Sports Corner. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Board. And once again, it is the Tony and Barnes show with Michael looming in the vicinity. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, Brian. You know, it's a little overcast day. I think lots up in the air in terms of what type of baseball is to be played today. So we'll see, Brian. But I see you're ready to go, huh?
Oh, I am pumped up, ready to go. And like you said, I mean, the forecast, I would say this is for this game to play with no snafus tonight. I would say this would be a bigger comeback than coming behind 3-0 in a series, honestly, for this game to get played tonight.
That's pretty crazy, dude.
But it's like, just these are the type of protocol issues I have just with society in general. I mean, we're seeing 90% for 8 hours straight. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell you that, hey, listen, we're not going to have the game. We'll play it tomorrow. There's already a scheduled off day. These are grown, human beings over here. They can get on a plane after the game tomorrow and be all right for Friday night's game.
Really?
Or Saturday night's game. It's not that big of a deal. So that just annoys me, Tony. Okay. But we got a lot to discuss.
So that kind of annoys me.
Obviously, recapping the playoff baseball from yesterday, as well as getting into some NHL, of course, the Prism Pack reveal, and of course the Zozo Championship leaderboard update. And due to the time difference, the first round has already been completed. So that's kind of interesting stuff there. But let's start now in the world of Major League Baseball.
2-2, he got him swinging. The back-to-back strikeouts for Robbie Ray.
There's damage right there. Shohei, way, Cy-Yo, nada, where did that land?
Stuck to Chapman, who leaps up and grabs it.
Story spins and fires. Out at first.
There it goes. See ya. Home run, Aaron Judge.
I just saw this come across my Twitter feed. I guess this is actually from yesterday, and I've never heard of such a thing, especially because it's like, football doesn't move for anybody. But Field Yates yesterday, 12:45 p.m., NFL schedule note. In the event that the Astros-Mariners series goes to a fourth game this Sunday, Seahawks-Cardinals will be moved back from 4:05 Eastern time to 5:30 p.m. Eastern time.
What?
Isn't that insane?
That's ridiculous.
And it's like, so what time is that game supposed to be? Because like you would think but it's on it's in Seattle. So it's probably a 4:00 game. So it's like, it's still going to start in the middle of the game. Right? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if they put out that schedule or not.
I'm not great at time math stuff, but it doesn't make any sense, dude.
We'll talk about it in a sec, but you hear all that stuff that came out today with the
Commanders?
Yeah,
dude.
Snyder looks like he got his hand caught in the cookie jar, but then he thinks Jerry Jones got his hand caught in the cookie jar as well. And I know Michael can't wait to talk about that as he joins us. But I'm just going to pull this up for Sunday, and then we'll get into the games from yesterday. So do we have times? Yeah, 3:07. So literally like the football game is going to start in the 8th, 9th inning. Oh, that's great. Like,
right.
That
just when I want to watch the game.
Yeah, just start it at the regular time. But as we've seen with not canceling the game tonight, that's just how they like to do these things. But we did have two games in baseball yesterday. Obviously, no local presence here, but we did see the Braves, as Tony predicted, 3-0 over the Phillies. Kyle Wright out-dueling Zach Wheeler. So, of course, that was big for Atlanta, not to fall into an 0-2 hole and be one game away from elimination. And you look at this in terms of Atlanta, really just all in the 6th inning. That was the offense for the entire game for both teams. You had a Matt Olson single, Austin Riley reaching on an infield single, and former Met great Travis d'Arnaud singling to center. So that was their
so
3
good.
runs. You look at the the pitching breakdown. So 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts.
3.
And then Minter, Iglesias, and Jansen 1, 2, and 3.
Kenley
7, 8, and
Jansen,
9.
dude.
That 3, going into this postseason specifically in any time this year, especially Minter and Jansen, I've always had questions about them. It's unbelievable. I mean, that's like the old Dellin Miller Betances combination.
I know, it's pretty crazy, especially with Kenley Jansen here.
Chapman.
I mean, I think what?
I said Dellin Miller Betances, but I meant Dellin Miller Chapman because no runs DMC Yankees 2016.
Okay.
But continue.
Anyway, especially Kenley Jansen, I think I've been kind of riding him a little hard here the past couple of years, but I mean, in reality, last season with the Dodgers, you kind of saw him almost reinvent himself as a closer. It's pretty crazy. He's still working with, I think it's just his fastball and slider, right? Or
we'll have to. Fangraphs always has the answer.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he's still a 2-pitch closer here. And it's pretty crazy that last season I think he had like a ton of saves. He had like one of the highest save percentages in the league. Like I said, kind of reinventing himself and then going to the Braves now. Having a legitimate chance at getting a World Series here. So you got to love that from Kenley for kind of reinventing himself and proving to people like me that I suppose he deserves to be in the postseason.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe Atlanta wins another World Series. And then I'm trying to see, so no options. So he is a free agent. So maybe that's a backup plan for the Mets. Diaz bolts.
Why is Diaz bolting?
For greener
Diaz
pastures.
Bolting, dude.
I don't know. I just feel like the energy towards the end of the season might be a deterrent for him. And I don't know. I mean, Tony, you, in all seriousness, I know you think I'm just trying to like bust your chops here, but let's just say Diaz, because we've seen this happen on the market before with closers. Let's say he's commanding $20 million a season, and Steve Cohen's like, I could put that $20 million. I know he had a great year, but we've seen with the relief pitchers, they're very up and down. We've seen the bad side of Edwin Diaz. I'm not going to commit 4 years, $80 million for a closer. I mean, could you see that happening if it came down to that?
Yeah, possibly, but I don't think he's going to ask for $20 million a year.
I mean, even Aroldis Chapman, and he signed his contract years ago, was making 18.
I know.
So I mean, what are your contractual expectations?
Honestly, I feel like 4 years is kind of long. Honestly, I would sign him to 3 max, maybe at 15 a year. 17 a year, maybe.
I don't think 15 gets it done. I could see maybe 17 or 18.
Yeah,
but just because of the season he had, he wants to cash in.
I know, but in reality, Brian, I mean, it's and like you said, the up and down. We've seen what Diaz has done before in the past here. I mean,
but would you? I know it depends on who it is, but let's just say hypothetically, you somehow find a way to get DeGrom back, and then it's a budget wise from Stevie, and it's either Trey Turner or Edwin Diaz. What are you doing?
I mean, without Diaz, we don't have a closer. So,
wow,
who would be our? We don't have a closer.
Well, and then you could get Ottavino for $7 million, $6 million.
Right.
You wouldn't want to try it.
Ottavino.
I mean, I think as far as a WAR perspective too, you're telling me Trey Turner and Adam Ottavino is not a better than just Edwin Diaz? I know it's easy to get attached after a great year. He had a historically great year for a Mets closer. But I don't know, man. I've just seen it before with these relief pitchers. You had the Brian face on right there. But we've seen them have these historically great seasons, and then it's always tough that next year, like Diaz's first year in New York. Right. How much can you count on that? The only guy that we've been able to count on year in, year out from the closing position is number 42, Mariano Rivera. Let's see. Yankees getting washed out tonight. Yankees getting washed out tonight. Oh, by the way, Jansen, I know we're all over the place here. Fastball, slider, cutter.
What percentages on there?
And so we're actually 64% on the cutter.
Wow.
And 22% on the fastball, slider, only 13.1. And it's interesting too, because I don't know about you, but for me, I was always like, boy, I mean, Kenley Jansen, I mean, he used to throw a lot harder. But I'm looking at this, and his highest average velocity was actually last season 93.9. This year it's 93.7. I don't know why. Maybe it was like occasionally he would reach back for it, but I thought, 5 years ago he was hitting 97 sometimes.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
I mean, you watched him more than I did.
Yeah, no, he definitely was, dude.
Does the Yankees rotation change after the rainout? No, because I think the biggest thing here at Sherber, if this actually ended up going the distance, it would change. But I think this is just going to be a sweep. So you have Cortez tonight, tomorrow, whatever you want to call it. Right now, if you looked outside, you'd think we're having baseball tonight.
The sun's poking out, dude.
Boy, that coffee smells strong. Did he just? What you say?
It's espresso.
Oh, it's espresso.
Yeah.
Is it like in the works, or it was just freshly brewed?
Just brewed.
Wow.
Why, you want some?
I mean,
pop a little in that cup right there.
The hot coffee, Tony. I don't know. You're always a hot coffee, or you're a combo. I mean,
I'm a mix. Like to keep it variety.
Is there any rhyme or reason to like, each day?
I mean, listen, in the winter, I mean, sometimes I'm just in the mood for one thing or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously in the winter, that hot coffee in the morning, it's just fucking warms you up, feels good. And then in the summer, the iced coffee is refreshing. So,
but the one thing I would say, coming from someone like you, because I know we're similar with this, I would think the hot coffee in the morning, fresh out of the shower, you kind of start sweating like a piping hot cup. You shower, then you go in the car, then you go inside, the heat's on, you had the coffee, you just showered. I would think you would start sweating from that.
I start sweating after I shower anyway.
So it doesn't,
it really doesn't matter.
But you know what my question always would be? Sweating after a shower, is it actually sweat? You know what I mean? Because it just seems like a different type of sweat than like, you're at the gym or whatever. To me, it's not the same because like you just showered.
Yeah, it's worse.
There's no
it's worse.
toxins.
It's worse because you fucking were just wet and you dried yourself and now you're soaked again. It's sweat, Brian.
It's annoying.
It's so annoying.
Is there a solution for this other than a cold shower?
Yeah.
AC.
Yeah.
AC.
Open the window in the shower.
Or you freeze yourself the last minute of the shower to get those pores closed.
Yeah.
Michael knows it. I know that's something he'd be on top of.
Yeah.
But anyway, Tony, I thought it was big. The Braves. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I know they're headed to Philadelphia now, and all the Phillies fans are all fired up for this one. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they took the next two and moved down to the
Aaron Nola?
The Braves. But Aaron Nola starting next game, you're saying?
Yeah. That's what I was asking.
See, so game 3, will be tomorrow, obviously, in Philadelphia.
I also do want to point
Aaron
out,
Nola.
I'm pretty sure I may have gotten Wheeler's line exactly correct, I want to say, because I definitely said 6-3.
Wow.
I think 5 Ks.
I mean, you watched him long enough to know him, right?
I know, dude. Just saying.
But I mean, what are your thoughts as they head to Philadelphia? I mean, the Braves, I don't know why they haven't announced. Wait, and Spencer Strider, is he out for the postseason? I see he's on the injured list.
Oh, is he really?
October 11th.
You know what? I don't remember actually.
Or maybe it's just this series.
Yeah, maybe. They just locked him up for, I don't know, like 5 more years or something.
Yeah. But I wonder why. I'm trying to think like who's going to pitch this game. We obviously saw Kyle Wright go last night.
Thank you, Michael.
Game 1 was Max Fried. Strider's on the injured list, so it's got to be Charlie Morton?
Yeah, I guess so, right?
What do you think about Charlie? I know the Mets did okay against him last time he pitched, or no?
Last time he pitched? No, I don't think so.
Or he shut him down?
He shut him down the last time, but then before that, yeah, it was decent. But I mean, again, leading up to the postseason, he was just absolutely on fire. So I think he's a phenomenal pitcher. One thing I think that, I think pitching will be relatively the same, I think, for both teams for the rest of the series. But I mean, I feel like the Braves haven't really opened her up in terms of offense yet. We mentioned just 6 inning, no home runs in the game. Right. So like, I feel like it's pretty lackluster in terms of offense for the Braves here. And even I guess you could say the Phillies too. Schwarber not doing well. I think Harper was 1 for 4. Obviously they didn't score much, only 3 hits, I think, right? So
yeah.
Rio Muto's 1 for 4. Castellanos 0 for 3. I think Bohm was as well 0 for 3. Yeah, he was 0 for 3. I mean, I feel like just very lackluster in terms of offense. I think the Phillies could put up more of a fight being at home next game, but I mean, it's going to be Braves the whole way. So
yeah. Now, do they get one of those games at home?
yeah, I give them one.
So we're going Game 5 Atlanta on, I guess it would be Monday.
So yeah,
I don't think there's any more off days late in the series. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that one plays out. The other game on the West Coast here, we saw the Padres 5-3 over the Dodgers here. Yu Darvish wasn't great, but good enough. 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, allowed 3 home runs. Obviously, all of the solo variety to Freeman, Muncy, and Trey Turner, maybe the future New York Met. And you look on the other side of things here, Kershaw, similar type of line, 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts. And he as well allowed a home run here to Manny Machado. But so the game, if you look at it after those pitchers departed, we're looking at a 3-3 game. But the Padres are able to claw back with 2 runs, 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 8th. We saw Jerks and Profar with a single to right in the 6th, and then Jake Cronenworth with a home run in the 8th. Little insurance for 5-3. Josh Hader, you had said he was going to shut him down. He gets the last 5 outs here, so maybe potentially turning the page. And coming up big with this one. And you look at it too, Roberto Suarez, who pitched well in that Mets series as well, 2 scoreless innings out of the pen, and you get 2/3 of an inning out of Nick Martinez. Oh, yeah. It really seems like maybe Josh Hader is turning the corner. And as far as the Padres, I mean, Joe Musgrove yet to pitch in this series.
Right.
So you would think they have a pretty good shot here as they head back to San Diego. I know we talked about this before, but what do you think it is with Hader? Like, do you think he's back? Like, why did that happen before? Any rhyme or reason here?
I don't know, dude. I think maybe it was his situation with Milwaukee. I feel like the Brewers, he's been with them for obviously a pretty long time here. So I think maybe, he was due for the change of scenery. It was a little bit of the pressure of being that guy every single time for the Brewers, being close to perfect every single time he was in the mound, So, yeah, I think it was maybe a combination of those 2 things. We've seen it before, change of scenery. He's in San Diego now, different team, different mentality. It's Bob Melvin. Think about it, dude.
The Bob Melvin just gets me every time. But yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for the Padres. I think they've been, and especially what a story it would be if they're able to make a run here, get to a World Series without Fernando Tatis, and after that collapse and the guys coming over and not performing, that would be quite the story. Speaking of stories, and I know they lost this one, but hats off to former Yankee Tommy Kahnle. You look at this, he's pitched only 1 inning going into this year since 2020. So it's been a long time, Tommy John, all of that. He gets in 13 games this year, 2.48 ERA. And, we know Craig Kimbrell, off the postseason roster. And obviously this wasn't a safe situation being down 2 runs. He strikes out the side in the 9th. So that's a guy I've always liked. And that could be, an option, even just as a setup guy for the Yankees or the Mets this offseason. I think he's going to be a free agent. It was a 2-year deal, 1 year of rehabilitation. I've always really liked Tommy Kahnle, and you seem like a guy who would be a Tommy Kahnle fan just because of like his theatrics out there on the mound. Just seems like a great teammate.
Certainly. And obviously, you love the comeback story.
Yeah.
Tommy John coming back in. Let's fucking go, dude.
So I thought that was a great story there.
How do you feel about Kershaw?
Postseason Kershaw, that he's had some good starts. But it's just funny because it's just how I'm trying to think how biased we can be, social media in general. Because someone was showing this statistic of like all these guys, you think about the top pitchers, DeGrom, Scherzer, Chris Sale, Justin Verlander, like you see all these names, and out of like 12 guys that you would consider top pitchers, Garrett Cole, I think, had the second lowest ERA out of all of them. But the narrative is, he can't pitch in the postseason. He's terrible.
Right.
And it's like, I know, some of that was with the Padres, but he's had good starts with the Yankees. I mean, it was just that one start in Boston. It came down to one game. So there was more magnitude
and
there.
That's what people remember.
But his ERA is far lower than Clayton Kershaw's in the postseason.
Yeah.
So just kind of interesting there. I mean, do you buy into the narrative with Kershaw that, he's not a big game pitcher and he's not built for the postseason? I mean, what do you think?
I mean, it's so tough when you think about how many times he got shellacked in the postseason by the Astros, and you're thinking well, if the Astros weren't cheating, it could have been an entirely different game for Kershaw. I mean, remember cutting up post-game interviews of him, and he's just so down on himself. He's yeah, just all the postseason rumors about me are true. And it's just every time I feel like he just got shellacked against the Astros in a big game. And because of that, he was knocked around. He was just mentally just defeated. And in reality, the Astros were they were cheating. They knew what pitches were coming out of Kershaw. So obviously they're going to know what to look for, what not to look for, when to swing. So it's kind of stupid that kind of affected his career like that. And now there's a big question mark in his postseason. Obviously, it's a little different now. I mean, obviously the Padres, as far as we know, are not cheating, and he's still kind of, 5 innings and 3 earned runs. It's not an ace, start. It's not a quality start for him. But I still think that just because of the shellacking from the Astros, I mean, it affected his career, So I can see why maybe the narrative against him in the postseason isn't exactly so black and white. But I mean, at this point, I think he doesn't have much time. He's got to clean it up a little bit here,
Well, and it's kind of interesting. I'm digging, deep into the numbers here. So you think about Clayton Kershaw, believe it or not, obviously just the one World Series title here,
right?
But been to 3 World Series in the postseason, in totality, 21 series he's been in. So that equates to him 194 innings. So pretty much a full season in the postseason,
right?
13-12, 4.22. And when you look at the breakdowns, great start in the NL wildcard game in 2020. But then you look at his DS, CS, and World Series, 4.10 in 90 innings in the division series, 4.84 in 57 innings in the championship series, and 4.46 in the World Series. However, Tony, when they did win the title, he did get 2 starts in the 2020 World Series versus the Rays and had a 2.31 ERA, 11.2 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts. So at least in the World Series that time, I mean, you point to the time against Houston, and it was, 3 games, 2 starts, 4.02. So really, we can't just blame it on Houston. It's been more than that. But is there something that needs to be said? Well, when his team did win the championship, he did step up, or do you think it's more of an indictment? Well, they were in the World Series 2 other times and didn't get the job done. And his ERA in the World Series, think about what it would be without 2020. I mean, it's 4.46 right now. You take that away, I'm guessing it's a 6 ERA or something. So, I mean, what do you think about that?
I mean, again, that. I remember the World Series against the Rays when it seemed oh man, Kershaw's.
He solved the riddle.
Yeah, he figured it out. He realized that, his woes against the Astros were because, they were kind of cheating, and maybe that put another fire under his ass to kind of focus in the postseason and get the Dodgers through this. So yeah, hold on. Excuse me. I think we have a caller kind of coming in here. Stand by. All right, you're on the Sports Port. What would you like to talk about?
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can hear Tony. Breaking news, though.
Breaking news.
Yes.
What do you got?
Daniel Snyder reportedly believes he has enough dirt on other NFL owners and Roger Goodell to blow up the league. Snyder has allegedly said privately, the NFL can't fuck with me.
Wow.
What
10 minutes
10 minutes ago? What is the NFL like?
Yeah.
What are they trying to do with tonight? Do they want him out to begin with?
Yes,
And now
because
he's
of the
saying he
whole
has all this.
sexual harassment lawsuit.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Appreciate the call.
Yeah, appreciate it, Michael. Appreciate
Yes.
it. You know, and it's just tough. I mean, he may, and I think, you know, you look hard enough, Tony, other than me and you and here the Downtime family, you look hard enough, there's going to be dirt everywhere you look. And I mean, who has more dirt than Daniel Snyder in terms of on him with all he's had to endure? So I don't know. I just think it's like, it's one of those things. This will get settled, and I wouldn't be surprised if nothing ends up happening here.
Yeah, it's too NFL is like it's almost like it's too big, you know. I mean,
yeah,
and it's themselves. It's like, you know, it's like that meme with the Spider-Man just pointing at each other, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, the only guys who are gonna really go down here are you people, like the owners, the Goodells.
Exactly.
So it's like they're not gonna indict themselves.
Yeah,
basically at this point, you know.
And it's one of those things. I'll believe it when I see it.
But first says I'm clean.
I don't know if I believe that with Prefer because he's been a little shady. You know, only called in once.
He is a little shady. He also thought Connor was back, but then he goes, "Oh no, it's Mike." Dan
Connor
Snyder has dirt on Roger Goodell. Ham hands. What's ham hands?
I don't know. But you know what I do know, Tony, that we are scheduled today to have 2 baseball games. I know for sure. We will have one at 3:37 from Houston, game 2 of the Astros and Mariners series. We have Luis Castillo versus Framber Valdez here. So the Mariners coming off that excruciating, that painful collapse, a couple days ago versus Houston after they induced one of those against the Blue Jays just last week. So, you know, obviously a big game here. I mean, how tremendous it would be, you know, you try to put this behind you if you could figure out a way to win tonight. And I think it's just going to be tough just because the fact is you had your offensive explosion last game and you didn't take advantage of it. But I mean, we've seen Luis Castillo have some big starts this year. So I think he's definitely capable, of shutting down this Houston lineup here. And I don't know, and maybe this is a crazy suggestion here, but just as a whole, when I think, you know, pitching, offense, depth, I kind of think there's more. It doesn't make any sense, but I think there's more talent on the Mariners.
Overall, you mean?
Yeah. Thinking about the pitchers that the Mariners have.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I feel like Valdez is decent. I mean, looking at his I remember I know, like, leading up to the postseason, honestly, I think he got shellacked a couple times. I think the series against Tampa Bay where he gave up, like, I think 5 runs over 5 innings. Before that, I think there was one against Baltimore, I think, beat them.
Yeah.
2, same deal. It was like 4 innings, 5 earned runs. Rather than that, I mean, I think he has a decent record, probably like a 2.5, 2.6 ERA. I'm actually going to let me look it up here. Framber Valdez, 17-6 in the season, 2.82 ERA.
2.82
yes.
ERA.
So still really good, obviously. He was tied for 3rd for the best record here. 194 strikeouts. Over 200 innings pitched. I mean, he's good, you know. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a pitcher's duel tonight. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the Astros have a little bit more versatility for offense. Am I wrong to say that? Ty France?
Yeah.
Julio
Rodriguez, you know, I mean, I fear Yordan Alvarez,
obviously,
but I don't think Bregman is that good anymore. And Altuve, I don't know.
Pena, pretty good.
Yeah.
No.
Just give me the Mariners, like, as far as their offense.
Gurriel
sucks.
Maldonado.
Right, though? I mean, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking 2017, 2018, 2019 Houston Astros versus the team that they have now.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's as good,
No, I wouldn't say it's as good, no.
So that being said here, and just to update everybody, I had a little bit of a rough day with the picks yesterday, and obviously, we're going to this point system here. But I still have 11 points. Tony picks up 3 yesterday to move to 5, so 11 to 5 right now. So of course, we'll pick these 2 games, and you could start here. What do you expect to see to happen here in Houston, 3:37 on TBS? Brian Anderson on the call, who should be doing the Yankees series instead of Uncle Bob Costas.
Uncle Bob. I'm going to go with Seattle tonight. I know I was just saying I think the Astros kind of have more versatility offensively, but, Seattle, like I mentioned, Valdez was getting popped up a little bit too leading into this postseason. I think he maybe had one good start against the Phillies. But regardless, I think Luis Castillo, he's just a phenomenal pitcher. I think he's going to go deep into this game. There's not going to be a worry of, Seattle's bullpen might blow it in the last couple innings. I think he may go 8 innings tonight, honestly, of just some, I would say 8 innings, some great baseball, maybe 2 earned runs, like a 2-run blast in the 8th. By whoever it is, by Alvarez, maybe Bregman. Why not say Bregman? We'll go with the proverbial 11 Ks. We'll say, but I still think Seattle will have decent offense. I think against Valdez, like I mentioned, him getting popped off. Between Suarez and France, I think they can generate enough, get runners on base. And I know you said, they had their offensive explosion. They can do it again. We've seen it, against Toronto. In the last series, we've seen it against the Astros now. Obviously, they blew it against the Astros, but regardless, they still scored 7 runs. They lose 8-7, right?
Yeah, 8-7.
8-7, right? So, I think it's very possible, highly probable. And if Seattle scores 5 runs here tonight, if they score 4 runs here tonight, I think they get the victory. And I think that's very, very likely here. So give me Seattle. I'm going to say 5-2.
Yeah, I hate agreeing with you.
Do you?
But I do. Just because, like I said, I think that Seattle has waited too long to be in this situation. They are distraught about what happened last time. I love Julio Rodriguez. I think he's a lock, Tony, in the next 5 years to win an MVP. That guy is talented. So you think about him, you think about Castillo, as they would say, he's a dog out there on the mound. So I just think they'll rally around. They'll all come together. They all feel the same way. They all want revenge. And I think they get it tonight. I think Luis Castillo, Tony, complete game. Okay. Really? 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, and Julio Rodriguez 2 home runs. And the Mariners defeat the Astros 3-2 as the series is tied. Nice. Going back to the Pacific Northwest. And of course, the second game, and I just looked at my latest forecast here. So, game's supposed to start at 7:37.
Is it clearing up or what?
It looks like it outside, but then you look here and it says this is from 7 to midnight. 70, 70, 80, 80, 90, 80.
Jesus. That's just nice. Nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So you would anticipate this is going to be a Friday game, but we'll roll over these picks to tomorrow if that's the case. But, in this one, Shane Bieber on the hill versus Nestor Cortez. Yankees minus 140 on the money line here. Total set at 6.5. Obviously, 2 quality starting pitchers here. As your mother gives us an update from New York.
Very dark in Staten Island already.
So I don't think that bodes well.
No.
But you were incorrect, Tony. Game 1, going with the Guardians here. So I'm just kind of curious your angle as game 2 approaches. What you're expecting to see in this one.
I'm expecting a pitcher's duel here, Brian. We're aware of the talents of Shane Bieber. We're all very aware of the talents of Nestor Cortez here.
Louis Tiant leg kick.
I think Nestor, facing down a good Guardians offense, a good lineup here. Obviously, looking the pressures of the postseason in New York, right down the face of it here. I think he's going to come out pretty big. But nonetheless, I think Shane Bieber is a veteran postseason pitcher at this point. So I think that both of them are going to be going head to head here. And I think it's just a matter of who buckles first. I do think Shane Bieber will have a little bit of an easier time, excuse me, going through the lineup of the Yankees here. I mean, he's seen them a lot. I'm sure he's studied them a lot. He knows, everyone's ins and outs here on the plate. And I do think that, when you really think about it, game one, I know you could say, oh, they're due, but in reality, Judge did not do well at the plate. Stanton didn't do well at the plate. It was Rizzo with the home run, Bader with like an RBI single, right? Or whatever it was. It was some of the guys, although these are good players here. I think it was some of the guys who you wouldn't really expect to be carrying the team here. And, I think, maybe Rizzo, these guys have a good night hitting, but I don't think that they're getting that, big 2-run blast off of Bieber here. I would say that both pitchers go 7 innings. They'll have around 8 or 9 Ks. Maybe, Bieber gives up 1 earned run. Cortez gets in a little bit of trouble here. Maybe like in the 7th or in the 8th, or finally gets out of it. Doesn't come back, goes out with no earned runs here. Bullpen here for the Yankees may implode. Maybe a Clay Holmes spot in the 9th, 2-run home run. And Cleveland can kind of just shut them down in the bottom of the 9th here. I'm getting kind of dark as the sun, dude. Look at this.
I think we are going to have baseball.
I don't know, dude. But nonetheless, I think I'm going to wrap this up because this shot looks terrible. Nonetheless, Guardians take this one 2-1. 2-1, Brian.
I want to know where you came up with that.
I gotta fix this.
Because
where?
I hate to discount, some of the things you were saying there. But the first would be, Bieber's comfortability with the Yankees. So, not only did he get shellacked by them this year, in the 3 starts he's had against them in his career, his ERA sits at 5.74.
That's totally fine.
Allowing 11 runs in 15 2/3 innings.
That's totally fine.
And to take it a step further, at the comforts of home, in 2020 in that wild card series, he actually got absolutely shellacked by them. 7 runs he gave up in that 2020 wild card series game. And that's not it either. Just the fact too, you look at his postseason pitching career. He had a start here in the wild card series against Tampa, did well, but that was his only start. So he's pitched 12 1/3 innings in the postseason. So to laud his experience in the postseason over Nestor here is a little premature.
Well, but Nestor has no experience in the postseason.
Tony, that's like saying, oh, well, you didn't have any at bats in the major leagues, but Johnny had 3, so he's a Hall of Famer. That's basically what you just said.
That's actually not at all what I said at all.
Well, of course, it's not exactly what you said, Tony, but there's a parallel there. So I just think it's nonsense. And I know deep down, listen, similar situations. I mean, you saw me in this Padres series. I was picking against the Mets, so I don't blame you. But to think that Nestor Cortez and the Yankee offense is going to bow down at the hands of the Guardians, I mean, is absolutely insane.
I didn't say Nestor would bow down.
And just to think that it should be an easier time for Bieber to deal with the Yankee offense versus Nestor with the Guardians offense. The Guardians offense is atrocious. That's why we've seen them score, 4 runs in 3 games this postseason. I mean, give me a break here. I don't think, honestly, that this is going to be close. We don't need Clay Holmes in the 9th inning. I think Jameson Taillon may pitch the 9th inning, or Miguel Castro even. So the way I see this, I think Bieber doesn't make it through the 5th. Gives up 6 earned runs. And I want to say, as far as the offense, Judge, monkey off his back, 3 hits, including a 2-run homer, as well as Glaber hitting his first home run of the postseason as well. And I want to say we're going to see Jose Trevino with 3 hits, Harrison Bader with a couple of hits as well. Nestor, 7 innings, 13 strikeouts, 3 hits, no runs, and it's going to be 9-1 Yankees as we head to Progressive Field for the clean sweep. No need for the gentlemen's, and you feel pretty good if you're a New York Yankee. That's why I had to get that in there.
Bless you.
Could we see some of these?
My mother also says, take it easy, Barnes. Of course, we want New York to win. I do not.
Yeah, exactly.
But first says Guardians going to treat Yankees like a fly flying in the wind, blown away.
Well,
I think you know what, Brian? It's the classic Yankees arrogance overlook spot. Would you say 9-1?
9-1.
No, I don't think so, dude.
But I mean, to say the Guardians offense, it's a good offense when they've scored 4 runs in 3 games is literally atrocious of a take, honestly. I mean, I don't think you get worse of an offense. It took him 15 innings to score 1 run, Tony.
That's fine, dude.
Okay,
I'm just saying
now. That translates in the postseason.
I didn't say they were going to score a lot. It scores 2-1 here, bud.
But why? But
pitcher's
why is
duel,
it so,
I said.
But why is it so easy for Bieber to navigate against a team that he struggled against before? Not only in the postseason, but the regular season. All of a sudden, he's going to be Bob Feller.
Sure, dude. I'm saying he's seen this lineup before. Okay, I'm saying he's been working towards this game. I'm telling you right now, he's going to have a good start. Nestor, I said nothing bad about Nestor. He's also going to have a good start. I didn't say he's going to have a tough time navigating their offense. It's a 2-1 game here. All right. It's a pitcher's duel. I said that. It's not going to be some offensive crazy 9-1 fucking game here. All right. It's a 2-1 game. Nestor's going to do well. Shane's going to do well. In the end of it, not Indians. Guardians come out on top. Bad bullpen by the Yankees. Okay. I'm just telling you. This is what I see. All right. This is what I'm seeing. First game, I think, honestly, wasn't much to write home about. I really don't think so.
Listen, Tony. You know that I always, respect your insight, but just for this specifically, yeah, I feel like you're digging. I'm sorry. I just feel like this is like, I feel like this is a segment on First Take right now. Because I see it. I see it in you.
We'll see it coming tomorrow, dude. We'll see it coming tomorrow.
All I'm telling you, if they were facing literally, I mean, at this point, the other teams in the other series, either one of them, I would respect the opinion. But the Guardians don't belong to be here. Okay, they're not a team that's going to do anything in the postseason. They have no lineup. Okay, and I just think the fact that Bieber clearly has struggled in his starts against the Yankees before, nothing points to him, having a good outing. And the animal that is Yankee Stadium in the postseason. This is in Progressive Field where he gave up 7 earned runs, 2 years ago. This is Yankee Stadium. And prefer, 15-0. We can't take those type of things seriously. If you're a big Mike Francesa guy, if you called up and said it was going to be 15-0 Guardians, he'd be like, "You waited on the phone for this? This is what makes you happy?" That's what he would have said. Prefer. So I just can't believe, out of respect for Mike and not Michael, but Mike Francesa, that you would say something like that.
Is he a Francesa fan?
We talked about it.
Did we?
Tony.
I don't recall. But anyway, look at Bieber's last few starts, right? Tampa Bay, 7 2/3, 1 earned run.
Tampa Bay. That's the key word. Tampa Bay. Another team that cannot score.
Chicago, right? 7 2/3, 2 earned runs. All right. Kansas City was 5.
Chicago scored a lot of runs this year.
No earned runs, right? I'm just saying he can navigate
Kansas
lineups,
City, Tony?
Kansas City. Kansas City, dude.
No.
To say these teams can score runs, that's ridiculous.
Nope.
Yeah.
Michael, I know you're watching. Already start the bite and do an upset Met fan hashtag, okay? So dude. I called it, okay? So
we'll see tomorrow.
I want to see this happen. Well, we'll probably see tomorrow because that's when the game will be played tomorrow because it's not going to be played today. Dude. I hope it is. I mean, it's annoying, though, because I feel like, we had a 1 o'clock start today. I think we get the game in.
So what are we talking about? We're not even play this game tonight. This is what we're talking about.
Well, all I would like to hear from you is that you agree with what I'm saying. You can't bring yourself to get there. Deep down that what you're saying doesn't really make that much sense.
I think historically, Guardians don't do well against the Yankees in the postseason specifically. If you want to say the regular season, whatever. But I think, I feel like the Guardians here are due. And I'm just telling you, law of averages here.
Should we bring in the Yankees? A third opinion?
I see it in your face right now. The classic overlook spot here.
There's 9-1. No overlook. I think
is 9-1. I think is outrageous.
No, man.
There's no way the Yankees are scoring 9
special.
runs. No, they're not.
This team
they're not special.
Is very special.
They're not special at all.
Very special.
They're not special.
Very special.
No, it's not special.
So I cannot wait. Let's see what we got here. Prefer with little friend Sessa.
Guardians, law of averages.
What's the first thing?
Doesn't matter. Right out in the Bronx.
Yeah, but I mean, prefer. I mean, it's just the game will be played tomorrow. So I mean, it's still the same thing. But this rhetoric, all I'm saying is I'm not standing for it. Okay, because I know I've been watching baseball for too long.
Sounds like you're scared.
I know the run that this team is currently in the midst of.
Right.
And like we said the other day, 10 victories. Tony, count them. 10 victories left for the Yankees to be hoisting that Commissioner's Trophy, as Buffer uses a bite.
He loves that bite, dude.
It's too high. 9-1. That's too high.
It is too high, dude. There's no way. 9 runs.
But whenever this game is played, I cannot wait to watch it, to be there, to experience that Yankee Stadium atmosphere. Right. There's just nothing like it, and it's really that simple, Tony. But that's what we got for baseball. So now let's go to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here's Matthews. Scores! Hat-trick goal! My goodness, this is a great shot.
Big hit on the far side by McCarr. He flattens Jordan Stahl. Oh, my goodness.
That's the top right back. Terrified and robbed by Shesterkin. That's brilliant from Igor Shesterkin.
It's a breakaway to win in overtime. McDavid scores! The winner is overtime!
Were you impressed last night? Oilers 5-3 over the Canucks. Jack Campbell's first victory in net for the Oilers. And they get contributions, up and down this lineup, from their stars. I mean, you look at this, McDavid with the hat trick, Leon Draisaitl with a goal as well. And this is after trailing 2-0. So we've seen the Oilers in the past, get off to these tough starts, but then be able to recover with that offense. And I think Campbell will play a lot better as well. I know 3 goals allowed here, but none after, a minute into the first to the second period. So I think as time goes on here, he'll settle in, and that's why this Oilers team making a Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, Vancouver, I feel like is a decent team here. Honestly, I think it wasn't much surprise to me that the Oilers won. Like I mentioned, Vancouver here. I mean, JT Miller is good. I think he had a goal and assist last night. Demko in net has been he's a good career goalie here, but for however long his career, I think he's like 26. But 833 save percentage against a team like the Oilers, being Vancouver, they don't play phenomenal defense. The Oilers obviously coming back with a vengeance here to kind of get the ball rolling on this season that ended, I would say, pretty abruptly for them, and obviously a lackluster ending. But hey, I mean, you love it. McDavid coming out hot. It's a better start than the Oilers had last season. So hey, let's do it. Hopefully McDavid can keep it going, can rally the rest of the team, and they're definitely going to need some help from other pieces around the team consistently throughout the season if they want to compete here. That's for sure.
And speaking of, getting help from pieces around the team, how about Alexander Georgiev, team debut with the Colorado Avalanche last night? That defense stepping up for him. Only has to defend 17 shots.
Crazy.
Stops 15 of them. And the Avalanche, defending Stanley Cup champs here, 5-2. Obviously, some new pieces. No Kadri, no Kumper, but yet same result here. I mean, I know you can't make too much of making mince meat of the Chicago Blackhawks, but nevertheless, I think it's important for Georgiev and the rest of the new guys on this team to settle into their roles.
Yeah, dude. I mean, hey, again, you talk about this Colorado team is just so freaking good. If you look at this right now, right, you have goals from Cogliano, two goals from Lankinen, who sent Colorado to, I believe, the Stanley Cup Finals. Having that game-winning goal. Nishukin, also 2 goals. Rantanen, 4 assists out there in the right wing. That's phenomenal for him. That's him just touching the puck and passing it out. That's basically everyone kind of touching the puck here. McKinnon had 2 assists as well. Kel McCarr, 2 assists, getting those defenders in. Taves had 2 assists as well. Those defenders using that blue line. That's just the Colorado doing what they can. Doing what they do best, really keeping the puck in their offensive zone, getting shots on net, kind of recycling and just getting that ball back to the post here by the blue line, and then just finding more opportunities to really just get pucks on net. And obviously with Colorado against a team like Chicago, I mean, the more pucks you're getting on net, obviously the more chances you're going to get of finding the back of the net, and Colorado's really good at that. So
yeah, absolutely. Were you shocked, Tony, that the Canadiens 4-3 over the Leafs last night? A team that I was projecting to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, obviously first game here. But I think after really struggling last year for the Canadiens to open up with a victory here, I think that's pretty big, no?
Yeah, dude, I would say so. I would say for Toronto, I mean, I talked about their goalie situation, right? In Murray, 23 shot attempts. He only had 19 saves. Goals against being 4, first game of the season here. I mean, I feel like some of those goals he could have had back. He wished he had back. But I mean, in reality, I think Toronto did their job in scoring 3 goals offensively. But Montreal, I mean, I think that their defense had a little bit of a breakdown, maybe an overlook here. I mean, when you think about it, the Canadiens now has some decent talent. Josh Anderson, who had that game-winning goal here. He's been in the league for a while now. He's 28 years old. I think he's been in the league since he was 15 with Columbus. Being on Montreal for the past, 3 years here. Again, like, he's decent, but it's nothing he couldn't have covered. Of course, we know about Caulfield being their young talent, seeing his explosion last season and everything like that. Obviously he's gonna be a big future for the Canadiens. He had 2 goals last night. You would expect Toronto, being the veteran team that they are, would recognize that and have a plan to kind of shut him down. The fact that he could have 2 goals with the rest of their lineup, I mean, you have to know they should be keying on Caulfield, right? So I think maybe it's just an overlook spot here from Toronto. Definitely a little disappointed in them for losing.
Yeah. So big slate tonight, Tony. So I guess, it's been a while, so we could do 3. Obviously Rangers back in action as well. In Minnesota. It's gonna be interesting to see too. Just Georgiev, do they trot him out there 2 games in a row here, playing the Flames? So definitely some interesting matchups. Flyers and Devils, team debuts for them as well. Islanders hosting the Panthers, Penguins hosting the Coyotes. So a lot of different places that you could go. But where would you like to start?
I guess I'll start with the Rangers. Why not? Wild had a decent preseason in terms of scoring, but I think preseason is always tough. There's a lot of different guys in and out of the lineup. I think they scored a lot against like Dallas, against Chicago, teams like that. I think they're gonna hit a little bit of a wall here with the Rangers. Rangers obviously having momentum here. Wild haven't. This is the Wild's not only home opener but season opener as well. And I mean, if you look at the Wilds, lead up to the postseason last year, how their postseason went, incredibly underwhelming because of their lack of offense, really. And I think with the Rangers, with what defense they could play, I mean, holding Tampa Bay to 1 goal, right? Their special teams has been on it so far. Obviously, Shesterkin in between the pipes has been solid. I think the Wild's gonna have a really tough time to score. I think Rangers here, obviously they'll take advantage of any power play opportunities they have. But the 5-on-5 I mentioned, I think as these games progress, they're gonna get a little better. Rangers, give it to me. I'll say 2-1.
All right. I'm gonna go with a veteran team here in the Pittsburgh Penguins. A lot was made about, oh, the big three is going to leave, this, that, and here we are, same team running out there. So when you think about that, and they're going against Vejmelka, who's always been a favorite of ours, and the Coyotes. I just think, as this season goes on, we'll definitely see some growth out of him. But when you think about too. And I just wanted to see her. I'm guessing that it's got to be Jerry in net. DeSmith, was he on Pittsburgh last year?
Yeah.
Okay, and he got injured right after Jari.
Correct.
And that's why Louis Domingue, Spice Pork. Here we are. He's a third-string goaltender for the Rangers.
Spicy pork, dude.
So anyway, I think this could be a shutout. I know, like I said, the Coyotes, are improved here. But I just don't think they have the type of offense to score against Tristan Jarry, especially first game of the season here.
Yeah.
So give me Sidney Crosby with 2 goals here, 2-0 Pittsburgh over Arizona as they pick up their first win of the season.
All right. I mentioned Ottawa in our kind of preseason kind of preview here. I'm gonna say that against their game against Buffalo tonight here. I mean, I understand you're in Buffalo. Cam Talbot is on the IL, I think, right now for Ottawa. So we have Anton Forsberg confirmed in his start against Craig Anderson, who's likely for Buffalo. I just think, we've seen Buffalo. I mean, there's really not much to talk about in Buffalo, I feel. I mean, obviously, we know Jack Eichel is away from there. I think they still have Kyle Akaposo. But I mean, geez, I really can't see with the way Ottawa's kind of been acquiring people from during the off season here. They're going to have a good game here against Buffalo. Again, it's the season opener for both teams here. I think Buffalo obviously has a good fan base. They're going to have a good home ground advantage here, but I think Ottawa is going to come in kind of a little bit more, I guess, wiry is the word I'm looking for here. Give me Ottawa here. I'll say Forsberg gets a shutout, and it's 2-0.
I'm going to keep it simple here, Tony. And the Islanders, other than being a rival of the Rangers, I was a little tight last year. Of course, the one game I go to, they shut out the Rangers. And I guess as you said in the video, it's not over yet. It was over, but it's not over tonight for Florida. I think they're going to roll by the Islanders here. Bobrovsky, Huberdeau. I know everyone's riled. Oh, the Islanders disappointing year last year. Come back with a vengeance this year. Florida, though, disappointing finish to their season last year. So I think they want to start on the right foot here. And I just think they're more talented than the Islanders. So give me Florida here, 5-2 over the Islanders.
All right. My last pick here. I'm going to go with the Capitals, I think. We talked about their disappointing loss. We also talked about, Toronto's disappointing loss here. And I think with the Capitals, with, former Penguin Connor Sheary on there, we obviously know about, Nick Dowd as well, who used to be on the Kings in their Stanley Cup run. And then, of course, there's Ovechkin. We mentioned Oshie from yesterday, too. I think Kuznetsov as well. I'm pretty sure Kuznetsov is still on the team. But, with Kemper in net for them, it's going to take some time for them to get used to it. But I do think with Toronto's, defensive just absolute misses last night against Vancouver, they're going to have a tough time defending Washington. I mean, there's more puck handlers. There's more skilled players in the team. We've seen it before. And I think Toronto, Tavares, Nylander, obviously Matthews as well. I mean, it's going to be good offense. I think there's going to be, an offensive game here with Toronto slated at -205 here. But I think Washington comes out on top. I just think with Toronto's lack of defense against Vancouver, it was kind of unsettling. I think maybe it'll take a game or two to kind of adjust to their defensive assignments. And I mean, a game against the Capitals is not one of those adjustment games that you want. So I would say Capitals win this one. I'll say 5-4.
I'm going to take the Golden Knights over the Blackhawks. So the Blackhawks obviously on a back-to-back here. Tough stretch for them, especially, you think about the older players on that team. I can't believe that Taves and Kane ended up staying. They're probably so tight that they just didn't get moved at this point because it's going to be another long season in Chicago. So I think the Golden Knights, no trouble with Chicago. 3-0 shutout here. Mazeralt with 2 goals, and what sets up to be another great night in the National Hockey League. But we have one more order of business, Tony, before we wrap it up here, and that is the award-winning Prism Pack Reveal. So we're going to go 2 packs.
The Prism Pack Reveal!
We did allude to yesterday that you enjoy the pack reveals, more than the actual games. So we know you're pumped up for this one.
Have you been watching preseason basketball at all?
Of course not.
Yeah, no way, dude.
So the first one, always a fan favorite of Michael's. He hasn't made his way to the Knicks, even though he would be a perfect New York Knick. How about Patty Mills? So a guy that's bounced around. Obviously, this is a Spurs card, but he's been on, of course, the Nets. Recently, so he's always been a great 3-point shooter, great role player.
Right,
learning in that.
Mike really likes Patty Mills.
Loves him. The next one. A guy that he has always been hyped on, hasn't lived up to it yet, but I would imagine if he was here right now, he'd be saying he's setting up for a big year. How about Brandon Boston, on the Clippers? So a guy he's always believed in, so I'm sure he'll be pumped up for that one. The next one from the Spurs, Devin Vassell. So we get a lot of youth in these cards today after some legends and veterans here. And the last one, Kyra Lewis Jr., from the Pelicans. So yet another young gun. So it seems like we're on to the youth of this pack. But we do have one more pack to go here. And I feel like I'm getting better with ripping these open, but occasionally, Tony, still the struggle,
The bag of chips, Brian.
Working on it.
The bag of chips.
Here's one that Michael will like. How about Victor Oladipo? So this one on the Miami Heat. So a nice card, of course. And I'm pumped up for this one. This is a guy, I want to say at this point, this is his 3rd or 4th, probably his 4th year in the league. Been on a team that went to the NBA Finals a couple years ago. How about Cameron Johnson? I think could be a breakout year for him. Obviously we saw him start at the University of North Carolina. Suns, though, it's been tougher to get playing time. So it'll be interesting to see how he works himself into that rotation this year. We got Delon Wright. So that's another one of Michael's favorites here.
Really?
Good on the defensive side. He loves fundamentally strong basketball, Tony. You've known that for years. And lastly, Delano Banton, career at the University of Nebraska.
Wow.
So as he goes into his 2nd year, there's some potential here, Tony. There's no 2 doubts about it. I mean, no Kevin Love jersey pull, but I think, we've had the Hall of Famers, we've had the veterans. I think it was good today that we did get some of these young guys, because that's where the value lies. Who's to say that one of these guys might not be a perennial all-star or even better a couple years from now?
Yeah, dude. You never know, dude. And then you know what? If they are good, that card could be valuable.
Very, very valuable. Lastly here, and I had mentioned this in our open, just wanted to update everybody on the Zozo Championship here in Japan. First round already complete, with the time difference. Brandon Steele, the leader here with an opening round 64 at 6 under par, and one back. We have Adam Schenk. Looking at this leaderboard, Ricky Fowler, 3 under par. So he's 3 shots back after round 1. Also at 3 under is Xander Schauffele. So a couple of the names, but we know, first day of the tournament, you just want to post a number. And the dog of the day here is Shugo Amahira, shooting a 78. So taking himself out of contention on day 1, but that's what we got in the world of sports today, Tony. And, as we come to a close and as we inch closer to a Yankee blowout of the Guardians, was there anything else you wanted to add? Any more nepotism?
We didn't talk any football today.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Thursday night, dude. Amazon
Wow.
Prime.
Tony, I have to say, that might be my biggest blunder of my career.
I know. Big blunder,
But I
dude.
think, what the problem is? The matchup, Tony. That's the problem.
Overlook spot. You're overlooking, dude. Typical Yankee mentality. The typical overlook,
No, but Tony, I mean, you have to admit, I mean, the magnitude of the matchup, obviously the uncertain weather situation. I'm trying to figure out, am I making my way to the stadium? Am I going to the game tomorrow?
Right.
What's going on here? And then we got to talk about the Commanders, the embattled owner.
Oh, gosh,
the Bears, with their never-ending quarterback situation. But this is an ugly one. We have an even spread. We don't see that too much. Also known as a pick'em spot here. 8:15 Prime Video, Soldier Field here. The over-under set at 38. So we're expecting a very low-scoring game here. Carson Wentz battling through some injury concerns. So kind of interesting. This is basically, usually, we have to keep in mind the spread, but this is just a straight-up winner, Tony. So if you would, give me your winner here. Thursday Night Football. Al Michaels, we know, is going to have some one-liners tonight at how pathetic this game will be coming off last week between the Broncos and the Colts.
Oh, yeah, I know. I would say just because of, home field advantage here, Soldier Field, Chicago. Give me the Bears. Carson Wentz, hurt or not. What does he have, like 4 interceptions on the season, I think, so far. Doesn't he have a lot of TDs, though?
Well, he had 4 in the first game. I think he's had 3 since.
Yeah, so, all right, so 7 TDs, that's fine. But I just feel like the Commanders, I mean, you talk about a team that has a lack of identity at this point. They're wearing like these weird, did you see like the all black uniforms they're playing in? Like,
yeah,
are they rebranding their colors too? Like, I just don't get it, dude. They look like shit. Commanders are pretty bad here. They're 1-4. Chicago, I mean, Fields, I feel like can run around the defense if he needs to. I think he can throw the ball pretty well, too. I would say still lower scoring because both teams kind of suck. But give me Chicago here. I would say 17-10.
17-10. All right. Just for the sake of going heads up here, I will take the Commanders. And also, it's very convenient to say, Wentz banged up. We had his coach calling him out basically the other day when they asked, how come you're not competing with the other teams in this division? And he said, quarterback.
Which, by the way, is kind of bogus.
Ron Rivera, though, like, what have you accomplished? Yeah. Man? Like, you fell flat in your face in the Super Bowl against the Broncos.
Unbelievable, dude.
You got fired. Yeah. You've had losing records a lot. I don't know about that.
And it's like, look at some teams like look at Dallas, for example, like Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I suppose he's a good quarterback, but I mean, he's their fucking backup and they're winning games.
Right.
So, like, what are you doing?
And I just think it's one of those things, it's 5 weeks. It's a new team. It's a new system, a new quarterback coach combination. So I think as much as I am not a believer in Carson Wentz, I think better times are ahead. And I think that starts tonight. The Bears are not a tough matchup. I know they started out 2-1 under head coach Matt Eberflus. But I really think that, in this one, we're going to see the Commanders get the offense going and win this one 28-10. So that total pushing. But they are going to handily beat them. And 4 touchdown passes for Carson Wentz, 3 to Terry McLaurin. He's a talent. He needs to get open in space. And then Brian Robinson, who just came back last week from that gunshot wound, will have his first career 100-yard rushing game. So that's, of course, a good story. So hopefully we get some fireworks tonight, and I'm definitely going to be tuned into this one if I'm not at Yankee Stadium and we do get a rain out. But, of course, no news yet, but we will see what happens, Tony. And now that I've remembered Thursday Night Football, anything else you want to add? I'm so embarrassed by that. Dude. I swear to God.
It's okay, dude.
It's just, but I'm not, that's not me. I don't forget things like that. I've literally never forgot something like that.
You're nervous about the Guardians here, okay?
I'm not nervous about the Guardians. I'm nervous about getting to the game, whether it's going to be today or tonight. Nothing about the Guardians, man.
No, I understand, dude.
There's no trepidation.
It's okay. You have trepidations. That's fine, dude.
Upset Met fan.
Overlook
Hashtag
spot.
upset Met fan.
Hashtag overlook spot.
But anyway, Tony, what a day. Favorite team. What a show. We really appreciate everybody tuning in, the Befers of the world, your mother, Michael with the inside information, Shokery watching later on, of course. But we encourage you to take a look at the archives on the YouTube page, as well as the merch, downtimetv.com. Everybody enjoy the day, enjoy the games, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.